Since 2008, Cyanna Education Services has been uniting compliance and technology for the education industry. Today, Cyanna supports institutions of higher education, post-secondary schools, and organizations around the world to achieve their educational goals. Cyanna offers an array of client services in three major categories: compliance consulting, curriculum development, and EdLumina, our online education platform. Through our compliance consulting services, Cyanna ensures that your organization is on the right side of regulations. We assist with state licensing, the accreditation process, and even launching a new school within the U.S. We have years of regulatory experience for clients that are just starting out or have been long established. Cyanna also helps create what happens in the classroom, whether online, on campus, or a combination of both. Our curriculum development team produces educational content for all types of schools and educational needs. We can deliver curriculum for traditional classrooms, professional development, and even within our online immersive education platform, EdLumina. Over the years, EdLumina has grown from an admissions CRM platform designed specifically for education. Today, EdLumina also offers a student information system, an online course catalog with point of sale, and even immersive augmented and virtual reality training. But beyond the unique nature of services we offer in the education sector, it's our background, our experiences, and our relationships that set us apart from other firms. We have been involved in the education industry with every level of stakeholder, from students and faculty to school owners and regulators. At Cyanna Education Services, we are advancing the power of education around the world. Visit our website, cyanna.com, to see for yourself. Hey guys, thanks for joining us today. My name is Scott Shelton. I'm Creative Director here at Scholar House Media. Excited to be back in the studio with my team at Cyanna Education Services. Today we're going to be talking about a new range of client services that are available from Cyanna. We're going to be talking about admissions solutions. And so we're going to be talking about ways, really at its core, how do we grow your schools? I know a lot of you guys have tuned in today to get some best practices, get some ideas, and really learn a little bit more about how Cyanna can help you to increase student enrollment, which really at its core is the core growth and driver of everything that happens on your school, on your campus, whether it's online or on ground. So I'm going to be doing a couple of introductions first to introduce my panel that is both with me here in studio and remote online. So first, I'm going to introduce the new VP of Admissions Solutions. This is Matt Schmoker. Matt, say. All right.
We're having some technical difficulties.
Interesting. All right.
Now I can hear you guys. I couldn't hear you guys a minute ago.
All right, great. Well, hey, Matt, can you hear me okay? All right, awesome. Hey, wanted to give you a chance to introduce yourself and your new role at Cyanna Education Services.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to diving more into it. But Matt Schmoker, been in higher education and admissions for 28 years now, and excited to bring the Legacy Admissions Solutions organization to Cyanna to really create a partnership to offer even more services on the admissions solution side to help our client schools and more increase starts and, of course, develop teams and leaders for sustained success. So really looking forward to our conversation this afternoon.
Awesome, Matt. Thank you so much. And in studio with me here is now, Sam, you're going to have to tell me your title. Go ahead and tell the world what your title is at Cyanna.
Implementation and Support Manager.
All right. So, but primarily you work with our CRM, EdLumina Admissions, and you and I go way back, right? You and I have worked in college admissions together at 3 different stops along the way. So we have a really good insight onto what Matt will actually be will be presenting today.
Yep, we've lived it. We've done it.
That's right. And then to your left, Danny Ortiz, Global Director of Business Development here.
It's a long title, yes.
That's right. And so welcome
We
back.
love long
It's
titles.
great to have you in the studio as well today.
I love it. Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to this conversation with Matt and Sam and yourself. And we've been enjoying doing these webinars and podcasts, and so we're excited to have a good conversation today.
That's right. It's good to be back. So, well, first, I want to help everyone who's on this webinar with us today. Matt, really get an understanding of you and your background. So, all of us at the table have worked in education in one form or another. But Matt, can you tell us a little bit about your background, your journey, right? Like, how did you find your way to education?
Yeah, I appreciate the question. It is a completely unorthodox journey. I think most people in education, especially admissions, can say that. My journey in education and working with schools actually began when I was 14 years old. So, growing up, we had friends of our family that had a commercial cleaning business. And one of the services that they offered was janitorial services for schools. You can already see where this is going, right? I mean, I've literally started at the very, very bottom. But anyway, growing up with my younger sisters, if we misbehaved or we weren't doing well in school, the punishment was you were sent off to work the janitorial services. So at a young age, my experience in education started at 14, 15 years old, mopping floors, vacuuming classrooms, and yes, Scott, scrubbing a lot of toilets. A lot of toilets.
So Matt, with that in mind, like how does that translate from like I'm working in a school, I'm helping so much things out to becoming, which AKA Matt, AKA the king of admissions, right? That's what we're gonna call Matt in the chat. So if you're chatting with us, just like refer to him as the king of admissions. How does that translate from like I'm helping out a school to like this becomes a passion project for you to help schools to another level?
Yeah. Well, first, Dan, you're gonna make people throw up by calling me a king. So definitely not that by any means. So how did I get into admissions? It actually started again at a very young age, in 1995, when I was 16 years old. So I, suffered a lot of health trauma in life and in upbringing, a lot of challenges that landed me in intensive care, and fortunately survived those circumstances. And I had a mentor, a business teacher named Mr. Kronbauer. To this day, is one of the most influential people in my life. And he taught me a lesson that when you overcome adversity, you're obligated to share those stories and lessons with everybody else that you come into contact with.
It's so
Like,
good.
I didn't appreciate actually what that meant at 16. I mean, I'm barely old enough to drive a car. And now he's saying you got to go out there and preach the word. So I didn't quite appreciate it. And what he was doing was motivating me to enter into the speaking circuit and share my story and my testimony. So, I attended Toastmaster meetings. Enrolled in NSA and started to learn the craft of telling a story. And at the age of 16, 17 years old, I was on the national speaking circuit selling my story to public schools and colleges and universities to share this survival story. And so at a young age, you could argue I became a consultant to share a story and experience, insights with other schools. And so I did that while I was in high school. Fast forward now to my freshman and sophomore year of college. I knew I wanted to get into education in some form. I didn't know if I wanted to teach, be a professor, get in administration. I actually thought I had an interest in public policy that I could impact, the Department of Education in some way, shape, or form. But what I actually had a passion for was helping other schools connect and engage with students like myself and recruit them to their schools. Because I think we all can agree the best investment you can make is in education, development, and training. So I wanted to help other institutions be able to do that. And that's when I formed Legacy Admission Solutions. And while in college, continue to network, continue to consult, and helping other schools and organizations learn best practices for recruiting students to their school. And that's what put me through college. And I did that throughout my college experience. When I was a senior in college, I attended a workshop in Seattle, Washington, where I'm originally from, and was one of the workshop presenters at this large conference. And it was filled with owners and campus presidents and directors of admissions that wanted to learn how to better recruit students from high school into their institution. And after the workshop, one of the campus presidents and directors of admissions approached me and said, "You've got something here, and we want to see if we can bring that to our school." So, one of my last major projects in college and my biggest contract as a consultant was building this high school recruitment program for this institution that was an allied healthcare school. It proved to be very successful, that the organization that owned and operated that school and many, many others from West to East Coast adopted that program as their system wide high school recruiting program. And then asked me to stay aboard as an employee to oversee the progress of that program. From that point on, for the next 12 years, I stayed with that organization and continued to consult, and was very fortunate to have experienced every position you can in admissions at the campus level and at the directorship level and at the middle management regional vice president level. So I had an opportunity to work with many admissions representatives, continue to train, develop them, lead them, had an opportunity to work with people from all walks of life and get a feel for all the various positions that you can experience in admissions. So fast forward several more years, I leave that organization. I continue to consult with other school systems, continue to be a private employee for some of those, not just ground schools, but online universities, and have been very fortunate to have experienced not only the admission side of things, but the education as well as operations. And fast forward now to 2018, I achieved a major goal of mine, which was school ownership. I became a co owner of a cosmetology school in Fort Myers, Florida, that's doing extremely well. Amazing people, amazing leadership. And that was a huge goal of mine. And I've always said I will never pass on an insight, a strategy, a tool if it hasn't been tried and tested elsewhere. And I would never recommend anything if we haven't put it through our own school to ensure that it's successful. And then earlier this year, there was an opportunity with Cyanna to partner Legacy Admission Solutions with the organization to be able to bring about all these additional solutions and products and services to not only continue to serve our client schools, but cast a wider net. And the last thing I'll say is, directly or indirectly, what I have felt so blessed to be able to do is serve and support several hundred different institutions, whether they be mom and pops to school systems, and not just within the United States, but abroad. And so I'm really excited about this relationship that we have now with Cyanna, to be part of the Cyanna team, to be part of a network of professionals that have experience working in schools and multiple positions in the school, to continue to bring all this experience and help other schools continue to thrive and be successful.
So Matt, man, that's amazing, and we are so glad to have you on board and your expertise. I want you to hold on to this question because I'm going to ask the questions to Sam and Scott.
Yeah.
Hold on to the question: what does our admission solution do for schools, right? And give me some more weed on admission solutions from a Cyanna point of view. But Scott and Sam, since you guys ran admissions, right, and you guys know everything about admission, like how valuable is someone like Matt to, from you guys' point of view, knowing that you ran a school, knowing that you did admissions? Talk to the audience how that having someone with his expertise can help you as a school.
I'll go first. I think it's just bringing a different perspective in. You know, you do things over and over and over and over. And again, you have your own niches that you have as a admissions rep, but I think it's nice to have a different perspective and an outside look of what you're doing, what's working, what's not. And again, every student's different. Not everyone goes through the same process. So maybe some students that you can speak to all the time, but maybe Matt, bringing in Matt with his expertise, can speak to those students that maybe some reason are choosing a different school or going a different route, or maybe didn't, a different way to communicate to them.
So engaging
Yep.
and executing, right?
Yep.
Because I think those are some of the big things with admission is how do we execute, right? How do we take what Matt has given us and execute and engage our student population? And again, the ultimate role is enrolling them and seeing them through. And Scott, I know you've had the same, you know it from a big point of view. I would love to hear your take on that.
Well, I mean, if you think about what 10 extra students could do to a school, I mean, sometimes that keeps you out of the red. I mean,
Yeah.
it's literally the lifeblood of a lot of the schools that are out there today. I know things like, cosmetology schools, they have a little bit of extra income coming in from like the student salon side, but the vast majority of schools, student tuition is the lifeblood of their institution. And if you've got a $20,000 education or a $15,000 education and you miss your enrollment goals that allow you to provide great technology for your students, take care of your faculty. I mean, this is, all that money feeds everything that is in your school. And so, you may have a great DOA that's been there 5, 6, 7 years, but it's just like a coach,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You've got a team that has been listening to that same coach for year in and year out. Sometimes they need a new voice.
It loses the translation somewhere in there, right?
That's right. So someone comes in like Matt that can take that 30,000-foot view on things like your where are you having problems in your funnel? How do you fix things like your appointment show rate? Getting folks to actually show up for those campus tours. It makes a huge difference to our bottom line as school owners and operators.
I love that. Matt, I know I'm gonna throw another thing at you because you already have a question to answer. But like this because Scott says something so valuable, right? 10 students could add so much to a school. In working with schools, Matt, have you seen like even one or two, like starting the momentum of adding students into the school? Have you seen like after they going through your program and after they going through your help and your coaching, have you seen that like that momentum kick in, right? Because it's like anything else. Once we start that momentum, it takes on this life of itself, and it's like that avalanche kind of approach. Have you seen that happen to a lot of schools that you work with?
Yeah, I have. When, a school makes an investment in training and development or strategies and resources and tools to give their reps the capability of being successful, what I've seen happen over the many years is pretty incredible. We've worked with schools that were near closing that by instituting some of these best practices and resources went to wait lists. What's really great to see is that schools that make an investment in these sort of services, not only are they growing their reps, but it becomes the DNA, the operating system of the school. They end up doing things the Cyanna way. They end up doing things the way that Cyanna has prescribed best practices for admissions. So it hasn't been just a shot in the arm sort of approach to make sure that you hit the next start. It really has become the standard operating system for the schools that we've worked with.
I love that. And so, what is Admission Solutions, and how can we help schools with it?
Yeah. Well, the first thing I'll say is we won't help a school if we're not convinced that we can't increase your starts and develop your team and leaders for sustained success. That is absolutely what we're here to do. Now, in doing that, there's a multitude of things that we could provide, solutions for, but sort of the big buckets we've sort of hit on. Number one, it's improving conversions throughout the entire admissions funnel. It's optimizing, the ROI and the investments that you're making into the institution. It's, increasing enrollment and starts, of course. It's developing your team for continued success, and it's infusing best practices in the school. And being able to do that, again, there's a laundry list of services that we can offer, from assessments, effectiveness assessments, to training and development, to optimizing your system, all of those things. And I think the biggest solution that we offer is Illumina, our CRM, which is a phenomenal piece of technology that you must have in a school today. You have to have a robust, very sophisticated CRM that without having that, you don't equip your reps with success.
So, Matt, I'm so glad that you landed here, right? Because I know you said it's important to have, but give me a couple of reasons why that CRM. And I use some analogies that I won't use here, but I use some analogies. I'll use one, right? So let me just use one and I'll kick it off to you, Matt, because I think it's important to land here, right? For the CRM. It's like if everyone knows Teslas are the hot electric cars today, right? But if Tesla was to say, hey guys, I invented this car, but I have nowhere for you to charge it and nowhere for you to go anywhere, it's literally a microwave sitting in your driveway. right? You cannot move it, right? And so in order for the electric car to work, you actually have to power it and have a system in place for that electric. So as I look at CRMs for admission as that at that the lifeblood and the importance. But give us two things that you can get off, for those who are listening, how important CRMs are to the admission process.
Yeah, it's a great question. There's a couple of points there. So, the power of a very feature rich, robust CRM allows several things. The first is immediate point of contact and engagement with the prospective student. We've all heard the saying, speed to lead, and all of that is true. But what we also know from our research is that the first school that makes contact with that prospective student, and contact does not necessarily mean a text or an email, but actually having a conversation with that prospect, has a higher probability of being able to enroll that prospective student. So a CRM that's rich with automation and communication tools is extremely important. The other is that it provides support roles for that admissions representative to make sure they are providing that great service to that prospect, staying in constant communication with them through their journey from interest to starting school. And then the last is the visibility that it offers not only the admissions representative, but the leader of that department, the leader of that school, to be able to identify what's working, what's not, where's our performance, where are the additional investments we need to make, what's the visibility on what are we doing and what are we not doing, to be able to help better coach, lead, and manage the admissions department. So of all the many solutions that we can offer, Illumina is a pivotal piece of that puzzle. Now, some of the other things that our solutions can do that can be integrated with this with Illumina is our 6-month contact strategy, which, when customized for a school, has an over 70% contact rate with immediate point of contact with that prospective student. So you can imagine, if you have a lead management workflow with a CRM, you could potentially be the first school that's making contact with them and setting yourself up for success.
That's so good, Sam. I know you like an expert, I'm gonna say, on Illumina.
Sure. Mhm.
What's some of the highlights that we can highlight for a school that's listening to us right now on Illumina? Give us some things that was gonna get them ready to let's jump in on
Let's
it.
jump in.
Yeah.
So definitely, to piggyback off what Matt said, is the automation is awesome. Setting that, we have a school and they actually might be on here, but they actually send their first message is not like a thanks for contacting us. It's a, hey, do you prefer to be texted or call? Are you available right now? Now that's an automation, but it actually sounds like it's coming from someone.
Yeah.
So they'll say, call me right now, and they will. So there's some different ways. So I think automation and setting it up to make it personable and not seem like an automation. The other thing too is being able to store documents. So we have online documents where you can store, you can give leads access to log in and put those. Again, if you're here from admissions, there's a lot of chasing and getting those documents in. So being able to give the power to, the student that's eager to start, give a little on them so they can upload those documents. But I think too, like Matt said, with that contact strategy and be able to implement that into Illumina, putting the two together, the admission solutions and Illumina together, will really help out schools.
Scott, I know you running schools, and we've had a lot to play with Illumina, and I think one of the things I love about Illumina is that we have learned from our clients to make it better.
Yes.
And I think
That's
we're
right.
such a unique boutique that we are helping, and you guys help us as schools to make it better. But you leading schools, what's some of the things that you've seen that we've added, some of the things you've seen we've changed, that would have helped you in running your school?
Yeah, I think it's important to think of your CRM not only from your staff side, but from your student side,
It's
right?
so good. Yeah.
Students are users of your CRM as well, when, just like what Sam said, they have all this paperwork that they have to, complete. And so giving them a tech forward opportunity, which I think a lot of students expect nowadays, it's not a nice to have, it's a
It's
need.
expected. Yes,
It is
I agree with
expected.
that.
You've got to
Yes.
have good technology to be a school on ground, online, or some sort of a hybrid in between. But giving your students a safe and secure portal to upload, vaccination records, personal documents, driver's license, this is critical. I mean, and then on the staff side, giving them a place to, I'm a little older. I remember like we're trying to fill out these file folders. Matt knows exactly what I'm talking about. If I don't have to fill out another folder,
No more folders.
folder,
No more folders.
you know, with real signatures. I mean, these folks can like, you know, sign this documents, but at the staff level, both the rep and your admissions leader can see in Edlumina, do they have everything in line so they can start? Because enroll to start, that's one more conversion rate, right, Matt? Is like you're tracking down documents.
Yes.
If they don't have
Yes.
these vaccinations, they can't start school in like a nursing school, right?
Yeah.
Or you know, like an MA, you know, and so. Thinking about it from both sides of your staff, and that kind of leads to my next question for Matt, because the technology is always important, right? But at its core, like every business, it's people and it's relationships.
Come
and
on.
so, Matt, can you tell us a little bit about what you do to maximize admissions staff performance? Because, you know, getting appointments to show, getting them to tour, getting them to continue to answer your calls, right? That can be a challenge. So how do you coach up admissions reps, Matt?
Yeah. Before I get to that, just something funny I was thinking of when you were talking about, you know, the importance of the CRM and technology. Um, Early in my career, I remember there was no such thing as a CRM. Do you guys remember just paper?
Just a box
Yes.
of parts.
Yeah.
Papers, and
Yeah.
more papers.
Yep.
It was filing it away. The notes went on the piece of paper. There weren't databases. There wasn't texting. I mean, the internet, it was dial up, so it wasn't really anything. And all you had was a phone. So we didn't have text, we didn't have really email. So I think today's admissions reps, don't get me wrong, have an extremely difficult job today. I really do. But really, they have more tools and resources available to them than we did, you know, very early on in the admissions world. But, you know, the way that we provide the training, Scott's a great question. First of all, it starts with a philosophy that we all have. And there are a couple. The first is what we call the SRA model, which stands for the student relationship approach. And what we know is that the relationship is extremely invaluable to today's prospect. And that's true of just about everybody in a sort of sales transaction, if you will, is a relationship you have with that advisor. So we are training today's reps to be more relationship focused and customer service focused than what we've seen before. So that's the first piece. The other is the philosophy that we want schools to adopt. And that is we enroll future professionals. At Cyanna, we are not in the business of training you just to enroll a body for the sake of enrolling a body. And one of the most offensive things I've ever heard in admissions is it's all about butts in the seats. Never prescribe to that. These are individuals that have come to us for information, for motivation, for direction. We're the information specialist to help point them down a path that they can follow to become very successful in their own right. So the training really starts with the right philosophy that we want our reps and our admissions professionals to adopt. And then we have built, a tailor made onboarding new hire program that takes you from the point of inquiry to the start and everything in between, walking through best practices, best ways to, convert in all of the areas of the funnel, how to utilize technology, what are the best communication strategies, what's the best way to connect and engage, what are the best ways of overcoming concerns and obstacles. And I could go on, but we really have a very comprehensive program that we can provide schools with and can customize it for their onboarding initiatives. Or we could pick a particular topic and we can go ahead and focus just on that cohort. So we bring a lot of content that is very relevant today that we know not only connects with today's student, but every generation of student, which I think is very important. There seems to be a lot of focus on which, you hear a lot of consultants say it's all about Gen Z, it's all about Gen Z. And that is important. But there's a whole nother group that we have survived on, and that is career changers. And the work that we have done in admissions is from baby boomers to Gen Z. And yes, baby boomers are still going to school. And so we've created training tools and systems that connect and engage any generation, any background, and any specialty they're interested in. So I welcome the opportunity to be able to showcase these solutions to schools that are interested and be able, to bring these training and systems to their organization.
Love that, Matt. I think the three highlights that we've been highlighting here for those, and we should all write that down. It's education, technology, and I love that you said relationships, because I always say relationships is the currency of schools. That's it. Bottom line. If you're not putting relationships first, and that's on every level, that's on the student level, the staff level, the management level, every administration level, everything has to do with relationships. I want to ask you this, Matt. What separates us from other consulting groups that offer admission services? What separates Cyanna and what we do good from other places?
Yeah, great question. Can I piggyback off of something you just said, Danny? First,
Absolutely. Yeah, this is a conversation. I want you to. This is what I want.
appreciate it. One of the other things that is really important in the training and the systems that we provide is that when followed, they provide the best experience for that prospective student. What we know about students today, they are the most experiential consumer we have ever seen. They are going to make a decision based upon the experience of others or based upon their own experience. And so, from the moment they visit that website to learn a little bit more about the institution and all the way to enrolling and starting, if that experience doesn't progress better and better and better, we know they disconnect from the school. So, the strategies, the solutions, the best practices ensure that that prospect is having the absolute best experience and service all the way through the funnel, so they're more committed to start, upon enrollment.
That's so good.
In terms of what separates us, I've been fortunate to have worked with a lot of other education consulting groups and admissions consulting groups. As a matter of fact, early in my career, I was trained by a couple of them, and they do phenomenal work. They have an amazing reputation, and I really admire everything that they've really invested in the education industry, particular admissions. But one of the things, or several things that I think separate Cyanna from other organizations is, first of all, the CRM at Lumina. We just got done talking a bit about it. It's a resource, it's a tool that it's an absolute must if you want to have the competitive advantage in admissions today. The other, and I love this about what Chris Eccles has built in Cyanna, is that everyone in the organization has served in a school, held multiple roles in a school, has operated a school, and or has owned a school. So Cyanna is truly built on experience, that everybody has had exposure to education in a multitude of ways. And I think that really separates us from other organizations. And the last thing I'll say is this, there are other admissions consultants that are out there that, coin themselves as experts and gurus. But when you really peel the layers back, they've either held one position in admissions their whole career, or they never enrolled a student in their career. And so what I believe Cyanna brings is a level of credibility, experience, performance, a high standard, and a track record of success with the schools that we've worked with, that a school that invests with Cyanna and our solutions can have the confidence to know that they're investing in a system and a resource and a solution that's going to work for them.
Matt, as we got to know you here as a new member of the team at Cyanna, and I think it's coming through today on this webinar, folks can really see that you're very passionate this about this field and about this array of services. At its core, though, can you talk to us a little bit about where does that come from? What inspires you to do the work that you do?
Yeah, that's a big question. I'll try to not be too long-winded.
Be long-winded. Go ahead.
No, I appreciate the question. There's a lot of things that inspire me in the work I've done. I think to the core, personally and professionally, I feel my purpose is to be of influence in any way, shape, or form that I can. And that drive comes from being able to watch other people succeed. if I can have some small part in handing them a tool or a solution that helps them succeed and thrive, I feel that I've done my job. But one of the things that's amazing about education is that it comes full circle, that when you invest a little bit of yourself into that student, eventually the emotional rewards come. Like, I'll give you a quick example. Early in my admissions experience back at that allied healthcare school, I met a young lady named Tiffany Lee who attended White River High School in Washington State. And I recruited her. I met her in her high school. She was a senior. We met in my office back at the school, and I learned her story. And her story is like many students out there. Single mom, came from a really rough background, didn't know what she wanted to do, but had a passion for helping people, in particular in the medical industry. And in working with her, we found that the best path for her was to become a medical assistant. So she enrolls in the program. She graduates the top of her class, perfect attendance. Now, you would sit back and say, that's great. That's a wonderful success story. That's enough. But fast forward several more years later. Now I find myself at St. Francis Hospital, where my youngest sister has just delivered my nephew, this beautiful, beautiful boy, Nicholas. I'm holding him, and into her hospital room comes this nurse, has her mask on, and she's helping my sister, turns around and screams and goes, "Oh my God, it's Schmoker!" Ah, and I don't have a first name.
Schmoker.
Yeah.
God,
Schmoker.
yeah, it's a Schmoker. But anyway, I felt bad because I didn't know who she was. I mean, she was covered up. So, I sat back. I'm like, I feel like I should know this lady. I go, do we know one another? She pulls down her mask. She goes, Matt, it's Tiffany. And I'm like, oh my God, how are you doing? She goes, I'm doing well. Get to know her story. After several years of being a medical assistant, her clinic invested in her training development to go back and become a nurse. And she was the nurse that helped deliver my nephew. So
Amazing.
I'm talking to her. I'm bawling my eyes. I'm like, this is so beautiful. All those sort of things. And she says, you help my life and my family. The least I could have done was help bring a new life to your family. And
Wow.
then 2 years later, after she got married, her and her husband Jake had their first child, Patrick. She asked me to be his godfather.
Wow.
That's amazing.
And
So Matt, Tiffany has changed you, right? I mean, that changes you. And I want you to think about it for a second. How has that impacted you from a heart point of view? Because I don't want to just pass the story. That's an incredible story. But
yeah.
what after you experience something like that dramatic, how does that change you from that moment on?
It solidifies that you are where you're supposed to be, that you're doing what you're meant to do. But what I love about that story, and there are many others, and I know there are countless stories we could all share about the work we've done with students and the emotional paychecks we get from that. But what I love about stories like that is to share those with other admissions professionals that are struggling, that are starting to question their ability. They're starting to question if they were meant to do this, and need to be reminded that although the work is extremely challenging today, I mean, we're in the business of helping other people live a better life business. That is not easy. But if they are reminded of the stories and the impact and influence they have on the lives of others, it's a reminder you are meant to do this. You are giving back, and your purpose is being served in the lives of countless other people that later on impacts their own family. So I think it's a multitude of things, Danny, but I really think it really confirms that you're doing what you're meant to do.
I love that. I don't know how much time we have, Scott. How much time we have? Because I have one last question.
Go ahead and fire it off, Dan.
All right. So I have one question, and I want all of you guys to answer it. So, Sam, think about it. We'll let Matt first, and then Sam can think about it. So, Matt, what are you most excited for moving forward with Cyanna, and maybe a sneak peek of some of the things that you're looking at for the future? And Scott and Sam, you guys got to answer that too, because we have a lot of things working here in Cyanna. Exciting things, some that we can tell and some we can't. Some we have to hold back. But yeah, Matt, and your end, look at it from your point of view, being the VP that you are. What are you excited for coming forward?
I'm excited to work with this team to cast a wider net to support even more schools of all specialties. And again, not just in the States, but abroad. And I'm excited to be able to work with a school that might be struggling, just needs a little lift, and be able to give them, best in class solutions and strategies to improve their school. I mean, the problem I want to help create is that you need a larger parking lot because you filled your classes
Yes,
or you're on
yes.
wait list, right? But there's a lot of exciting things that we're working on that are very technology based that we'll be able to infuse in the CRM that gives a even more insight into the prospective students that we're working with, so that admissions professionals and educators know how to better connect and engage with those individuals to be able to provide a greater experience for them, not just in admissions, but in the classroom as well. So there's many things that we're working on together, and I love that collectively at Cyanna, there's an endless amount of resources available to us that we can create those solutions and continue to give back to even more schools.
That's so good. When I hear you talk, I just hear Chris Eccles, right? I mean, he's our leader. He's the one that founded this, and He's always his gospel that he preaches is technology and education, technology and education, technology and education. I think that is when I hear you talk, I hear that. Sam, what are you excited for?
Um, Well, I love our clients. So I'm excited to bring more people on because I would think I love meeting with our clients every single day when I can. But just, checking in with them. And then, two, all the new things that we've rolled out, being able to check in and say, hey, are you using this? Digging in and see if they're using it. And then also being able to bring some of the services that Matt offers into maybe things that our clients aren't using. But there's a lot of exciting things. But again, more partnerships and relationships with the schools.
I
And
love
that's what I
that.
love.
Yes. Scott.
Yeah, and to just kind of piggyback off of what Sam said, there's some great updates coming and that have been implemented in Edlumina that are now finally being used. Like come into theory, into development that are actually being used by our clients, and so it's excited to see those things in action. But I think it's really exciting when you look at the whole picture of Cyanna. So you have technology, you have experience, but the entire range of what Cyanna does is really all encompassing and can really augment your team on the ground from really anywhere in the world. And so, seeing that you can help folks from a lead to a graduate and everything in between there for that student's overall experience is just really exciting about Cyanna. I'm excited about what's coming down the pipeline for Ed Lumina. I'm excited to see how our guest Matt today helps out, with both the technology and the people, right? Because
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
everything.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And seeing that side of this organization grow. So
That's so good.
Yep.
I was just gonna say what I'm excited about.
Oh,
do it,
Danny, what are
Danny.
you
Come on,
excited
please.
I am
about?
excited about all of you. I'm mostly excited about Schmoker.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a first name.
He doesn't have a first name.
No.
So listen,
Matt,
now
yeah.
you're done, Matt, because now we're like from that story, you are automatically Schmoker in my head. That's it. Like you're done, right? But I am excited to have you on board and really to define some things and refine some things and like you said, Sam, the name of it all is to bring other folks involved into Lumina, into our CRM system, into understanding emissions, and I think that's just exciting. And the relationships that you said something great, Scott. We are a one-stop shop, and I think that's why I love Cyanna. That's why I love working here. That's why I love like you get up in the morning knowing that we can help anybody in any area of level that they need help in, right? From zero to like the most ongoing school that's killing the game, we can still help everybody. And I think that's one thing I love about being a part of this ecosystem, that we can plug and play you as a school wherever you at, whatever you need help with, there is some solution that we have to help you in, and that excites me about Cyanna and where we at.
That's right. And so for everybody who is at home or in their office watching today, everything that we talked about, the full range of admissions solutions from our team and specifically from Matt, can be easily accessed. So right now you are at Cyanna.com/webinars. If you go under the resources tab, the very first link under there says admissions solutions. So you should see it on your screen right now. Thank you, producer Caleb. So right under resources as admissions solution, and as you scroll down on that page, you will see that everything we spoke about today is there. Increasing new student enrollment, improving conversion rates, maximizing your admissions staff performance, really paying attention to that marketing ROI, and implementing best practices across your entire team. And so down there at the bottom, you can see things about admissions training and development for your staff, and even these admissions effectiveness assessments from Matt. So you'll see Matt's smiling face from the webinar on the right-hand side there. So you can reach out to him. There's a big, easy to find button at the bottom of that page. Fill out that form, contact Matt, and start finding how Cyanna can help your school today. So I want to thank Matt and my esteemed colleagues here, Samantha Bauer, Danny Ortiz, and of course, Matt Schmoker. Matt, thank you for all of your insight today. This has been extremely helpful.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me, guys. Good to see you today.
Absolutely. And so to everyone, thanks for joining. We will be putting together a nice recorded package of this video. So if you'd like to watch it again, also drop us a line. And when that's ready, we will be able to email that out to you. It will be available in video and podcast format. So if you are a commuter and you want to throw it on and listen to it on the way, you can certainly do that as well. And follow us on LinkedIn to make sure that you stay in tune with everything that Cyanna has going on, because I believe we will be back here in a month for an ongoing webinar series.
That was my question to Matt and all of us. Are we going to do this again? Because I've had so much fun.
Absolutely. I don't think we have a choice, honestly.
Matt, are we doing this again? Are we doing this again?
It's a date, everybody. It's a date. No, we'll get that information out. We're looking at doing monthly webinars for the next several months. Also, stay tuned. We'll be visiting multiple conferences that are taking place throughout the country for the rest of the year, speaking at those conferences. And by the way, just a shameless plug real quick, come visit us. If you're at the CQ conference in Kansas City next week, booth number 119, Anthony Civitano, VP of Strategic Initiatives, is going to be on a panel during that conference. He and I will both be there. So if you want to learn more about Cyanna, Illumina, our admissions solutions, or many of the other services in curriculum development or compliance and accreditation, come meet with us. Be happy to talk to you more and share a little bit more about how we can serve and support you.
And you can shake Schmoker's hands.
That's right.
Yeah,
Meet him face to face. That's
The
right.
king.
The king.
That's right.
No.
All right, guys. Thank you to everyone across the globe that joined us today and took time out of their valuable Wednesday to spend some time with us and Matt. We will see you guys next time. Thanks for attending.
All right.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks.
Guys.
Since 2008, Cyanna Education Services has been uniting compliance and technology for the education industry. Today, Cyanna supports institutions of higher education, post-secondary schools, and organizations around the world to achieve their educational goals. Cyanna offers an array of client services in 3 major categories: compliance consulting, curriculum development, and Edlumina, our online education platform. Through our compliance consulting services, Cyanna ensures that your organization is on the right side of regulations. We assist with state licensing, the accreditation process, and even launching a new school within the U.S. We have years of regulatory experience for clients that are just starting out or have been long established. Cyanna also helps create what happens in the classroom, whether online, on campus, or a combination of both. Our curriculum development team produces educational content for all types of schools and educational needs. We can deliver curriculum for traditional classrooms, professional development, and even within our online immersive education platform, EdLumina. Over the years, EdLumina has grown from an admissions CRM platform designed specifically for education. Today, EdLumina also offers a student information system, an online course catalog with point of sale, and even immersive augmented and virtual reality training. But beyond the unique nature of services we offer in the education sector, it's our background, our experiences, and our relationships that set us apart from other firms. We have been involved in the education industry with every level of stakeholder, from students and faculty to school owners and regulators. At Cyanna Education Services, we are advancing the power of education around the world. Visit our website, cyanna.com, to see for yourself.